Hey there, everybody. Welcome to hashtag Fun Friday on location. I'll say where I am. I'll show you where I am. Oh, look at that. There's a little thing there. Oh, it'll tie in a minute. Fun Friday. I thought I'd come in with some Ebenezer Scrooge Christmas Carol fun facts for you. As you may not have escaped your notice that A Christmas Carol is my favourite story. And I believe it's the greatest coaching book ever written. There is so much that we can learn from looking at our past, looking at our present, and looking at our yet to come. And what happens if we don't change? What if we don't improve? What if things stay as they are? And I love it. That's why I've shared so much this December of all the lessons that we can learn. And I just wanted to come in. If you've noticed in my posts, I've been putting a little bit of trivia in. So if you haven't caught it, this is your chance to catch up, because there's some really fun stuff that I discovered only a few years ago. And I am a Christmas Carol nut. But there's some fun stuff that I found that I'm going to share with you now. And then I'll tell you why I'm on location here. And it'll all tie together. So, did you know that Ebenezer Scrooge was based on a real life person? That's right, not just a fictional character, based on a real life person. And this person was called James Jemmy Wood. And James Jemmy Wood lived right here in my home city of Gloucester. Right? So not only have I got this affinity with A Christmas Carol and Charles Dickens and what this is all about, I discovered a few years ago that the inspiration for the character Ebenezer Scrooge actually lived here. Now, I'm going to say now that vast majority of Gloucestershire residents are not Ebenezer Scrooge. But James Jemmy Wood was the inspiration. And the reason he was the inspiration was, well, he had quite the reputation. He was actually the business owner of Gloucester Old Bank. And just down here on the left-hand side, there's a plaque where Gloucester Old Bank used to be in. And I discovered that plaque, and that's the first time I realised, oh my goodness, because it says he was the inspiration for Ebenezer Scrooge. So, Old Bank, Ebenezer Scrooge, accounting firm, all about the money, right? All about the money. He was renowned for being a miser. No wonder, right? No wonder. If you can hear music, there's like a gig going on just out here. There's not just a church here, but there's a gig just going down the road. So it's happening here in Gloucester. But James Jemmy Wood, the business owner of Gloucester Old Bank, he was known for being a miser. He was also known for being the wealthiest commoner in all the land. To give you an idea of this, when he died, he had a fortune that in today's money would be worth £51 million. That is a lot of money by anyone's standards. And we're talking about the 1800s. So this is the kind of money that really only the absolute elite and royalty were seeing. But this was, for want of a better phrase, the phrase they used, a commoner. He was the business owner. And he was worth that. But he was a miser, but not just locally. He was nationally known as the Gloucester Miser. Imagine having the reputation that actually you get nicknamed throughout the land that you are the Gloucester Miser. And there's a couple of fun stories. In A Christmas Carol, where he's really got an affinity about the coal. He makes a big thing about the coal for the fire. And poor old Bob Cratchit's there trying to warm his hands on the candle because he's not allowed another lump of coal on the fire. Well, James Jemmy Wood was renowned for going down to Gloucester Docks, which is just behind me. It's just down the road there. And at the time, Gloucester Docks was a working docks, and it's where all the trade came in and out of Gloucester. He would go down there and he would scour the floor for any lumps of coal that had fallen off the wagons, fallen out of the sacks from all the trade. Right? He didn't want to spend money on the coal. He went down to the Gloucester Docks and just picked it up off the floor. It's like, wow, this is a guy worth tens of millions of pounds. It's like, wow, that's impressive. And also there's another story where he was in Tewkesbury, which I'm not entirely sure of the mileage, maybe about 40 miles that way. On business, found himself in Tewkesbury, and he refused to pay for the carriage back. Too much money. He he wanted to save his money. So he walked. I mean, fair play. That's a hell of a walk. But rather than spending his money on the carriage home, he walked instead. So, man, what a guy, right? What a guy. The thing is, he was renowned for this and his business practices and how he treated people. And just to give you a flavour of the opinion, the feeling, the sense of feeling towards this man, James Jemmy Wood. When he died, there was a funeral procession through these streets. This street, in fact. And people lined the streets for the funeral procession and booed. And booed. Not just booed. Threw stones at his coffin as it went by. Wow. That is quite some feeling towards a man. So as you can tell, this is why he was the inspiration behind Ebenezer Scrooge. Charles Dickens didn't actually meet him. They were around at the same time, and Charles Dickens did come to Gloucester on several occasions and loved the city. I love that. Again, this is just like, blows my mind as a Christmas Carol nut. But they never met, but he had such a reputation, he knew of him. And in fact, throughout some of his other novels, he was referenced. So really quite an opinion, made quite an impact. So that's the real life inspiration behind James Jemmy Wood. Well, here's the thing. Why am I on location? Well, this here is St. Mary de Crypt Church, just down from the cross, just from the centre of Gloucester. And this is actually where James Jemmy Wood was put to rest. It's his last resting place, in the family vault in the church. And now this isn't a pilgrimage, because people don't really make a pilgrimage to James Jemmy Wood. But I had the absolute privilege and pleasure of being in this church the other day for an intimate performance of none other than A Christmas Carol, a live performance of it right in the middle of the church. And I just couldn't not go. Like, the opportunity was there, and as somebody, it's got such an affinity, but then to be here at the resting place of the inspiration for Ebenezer Scrooge, it kind of felt a little bit wrong. And I didn't know whether it was going to be super spooky, but it wasn't. It was just a beautiful experience, and the messages that came through were just so strong, and the setting was amazing for that. And to be in that intimate audience of about 30 people, with the cast was about 8 people, and they did such a good job. And it was just word for word the book. It was brilliantly done. There was a narrator for the narrating parts, and she was amazing. And then all the dialogue straight from the book, and the characters were larger than life, and yeah, really, really moving. And what an experience for somebody who's, an absolute avid fan of A Christmas Carol and the messages that it has. So this is #Fun Friday. So I hope you don't mind me just coming in and just nattering to you on a Friday night. And yeah, what a place. Who would have thought my home city was, the inspiration for Ebenezer Scrooge lived right here, worked right here, was that miser, had that reputation. Wow. Being booed and throwing stones. Wow. And yeah, St. Mary de Crypt Church is where his resting place is, and a live performance, amazing, by the Grove production, and they did a fantastic job. So if you ever get a chance to see it, see them do it, they'll always blow it out the water for you. That'll be a great time. But if you ever get a chance to see A Christmas Carol live, it's worth it. I mean, we've all seen the movies and all that kind of stuff. Let me know what your favorite rendition is, but to see it live, performed live, is really quite special. The power in the messages really gets to you. So there you go. Thank you for joining us, or joining me today. I hope you found that fun, insightful. I'd love to know what you think about A Christmas Carol, your favourite rendition. And yeah, Merry Christmas, and as Tiny Tim would observe, God bless us, everyone.